Hello everyone, welcome to Beauty News NYC. My name is Hayley and today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks and application methods to get a flawless face in terms of foundation and concealer. You know, what order to apply it and how to make everything look seamless and effortless. So whether you're perfecting your everyday routine or whether you have a photo shoot coming up, you're getting your passport photo renewed, hopefully these tips will help you. So if you want to learn more, just carry on watching the video. So before you start on the foundation, your skin should always be prepped, whether you use a moisturiser alone or a primer. If you're going to use a moisturiser, I wouldn't use a primer as well because it's just an additional layer that you don't need. But because there's so many primers on the market now, they do all different things. They regulate your oil production, they hydrate your skin, they sort out any uneven skin tone, whether that be redness or pigmentation. So you really can skip your moisturiser. So I have two here which I recommend. The first one is the Smashbox Hydrating Primer. Now this prolongs the wear of your makeup, but it also, you know, has that hydrating feel, so it acts as a moisturiser. And they do so many different versions of this, so you have any type to really suit your skin. And then the next one is this Clinique one. This is fairly new. They have a universal primer which is for all skin types, and they also have different primers targeted on different skin tones or types. So for today I'm going to use the Clinique primer, and if you're using this on yourself, the best way to apply it is just like moisturiser. And you don't have to put it all over your face, you can just put it in the areas that you feel like you need it. And for most people that's kind of like the T-zone of the face, and basically from the centre of the face working outwards. And especially if the primer is designed to fill in pores, that's pretty much the only area that you're going to need it. So since most primers are silicone based, you just want to take your hand and smooth it over the skin and use a pea-sized amount when you're applying it, regardless of what formula or brand the primer is. So obviously foundation is a very personal thing, so I have a couple of options to take into consideration depending on what type your skin is. So the first foundation I really recommend for that flawless finish for oily to combination skin is the NARS Sheer Matte. And obviously this is a mattifying texture, but it's not too matte to the point that it's going to sort of enhance your imperfections. It really does even out the skin tone but make everything look extremely natural. The best way to apply this is with your fingers because it just really does blend into the skin that way, and all NARS foundations should be applied with your fingers. So yeah, I really recommend this, and I also recommend the Sheer Glow for dry to normal skin. So if you have more mature skin or you just feel like you don't want a heavier coverage and you can use the minimal amount of product, I really recommend the Illuminate CC Colour Correcting Cream. And of course you may have heard of colour correcting creams and BB creams. This is basically like an all-in-one product. So it gives you the perfect amount of coverage with also having a lot of skincare benefits. It has an SPF of 20, it's long wearing, and it just feels very light on the skin and it's really undetectable. So if you like a more natural finish, this would be really good for you. I wouldn't recommend this for photography purposes because it does have a higher SPF, but for daytime and for flawless makeup, I really do recommend this. So if you wanted to go for more of a fuller coverage, I recommend the Silk Cream Foundation for normal to dry skin. This is really natural, it looks natural on the skin, but it really does perfect a lot of imperfections. And even if you don't have a lot of imperfections, I think it's good to go for a fuller coverage foundation, especially if you're wearing it in the evening. So for this look I'm going to be mixing these two shades together. This is Cream Ivory and Soft Ivory, mainly because I'm wearing Self Tanner at the moment, so I want to get a perfect shade. So basically mixed equal parts of each colour, and then I'm taking a Dalium Tools 957 brush and just working off the back of my hand. I'm going to go in from the centre of the face and I'm just blending the foundation. And it is better to start on the inner of the face, the centre of the face, because then whenever you blend out, it's not going to be like a mask, you know, it's going to be really blended out and diffused when you get to the corners of your face. And most people in general tend to suffer from most kind of imperfections, or I don't know whether you call them imperfections, but most discoloration in the centre of their face. So for concealer I'm going to be using the Clinique Airbrush, and I really like it because it's very light diffusing and It basically makes any dark circles go away very easily without applying too much product. And this one is a twist up product. So I just apply it in the areas I get dark. And the secret with concealer is not to apply it all around the eye, just apply in the areas you get dark. So that way you're using less product, and also you're kind of preventing any creasing to happen because you're not overly using the product. And I find the best way to do this is just to go in with your fingers, so you really can control where you're blending the product. So if you suffer from any blemishes and you want your skin to look totally flawless and perfect, I really recommend pinpoint concealing. And the best product for pinpoint concealing is a Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Concealer. And as you can see, it comes in two little duos here. You get two shades, so you can mix them together, or you can just use one or the other. This one is in the shade SC1, so this one is the lightest one, but you can warm it up with the darker colour. This product in particular is designed to use on pimples because it has a very thick formula. It's very pigmented, but it blends out and it's really creamy when you blend it out, but it's just not designed for under the eyes. But alternatively, you could mix it with an under eye concealer if you wanted more of a pigmented finish and you wanted a bit more coverage. But today I'm just going to be using it to pinpoint any redness on my skin, and I'm using the Secret Camouflage brush, which is a synthetic brush, which you should always use for concealer. And this is just has the perfect tip on it, so it's really good at getting exactly where you want it, and you can just blend out with your finger. So I'm just using a bit of this, a bit of the darker shade. And since I don't have any active breakouts as such, I think I'm just going to go around my nose just to make sure there's no redness, because I know a lot of people suffer from redness around your nose particularly. And I'm just going to blend that out. But if you did have a pimple, so for instance right here, what you would do is just take the product, apply it, and then you can just blend out with your fingers. And normally the heat of the fingers blends out things perfectly. So if you're using any type of cream blush or any cream product, you should always apply it directly on top of your foundation, because cream and powder don't mix. So for blush, I always find that cream blushes look so natural and they just go onto the skin really flawlessly, and they almost look like second skin. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever HD blush, which is a cream blush, and I'm using it in the colour 220, and it's a really nice dusky pink, and they have so many flattering colours. Really creamy product. So I'm just going to be applying this with my fingers and then kind of just dotting it where I want it. And you could just apply it on the apples of your cheeks, but I tend to find if you apply it slightly up in your cheekbone area but not too high, kind of gives your face a little bit of a lift. And also I think when you apply it just directly on the apples of the cheeks, it kind of makes you look a bit embarrassed. So I find it looks a bit more natural when you do it this way. So there you go, really natural. Now to set everything, you want to go for something that's not too heavy, but it's going to make sure the makeup stays in place. And you also just want to mattify the areas that you feel you need to. So for this, I'm using the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder, which comes in a loose form here. And it's a really great product. So to apply the powder, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Small Fan Brush, and this is actually so perfect for applying this product because it really does pick up the right amount of product, and the mix of synthetic and natural fibres really give it a very natural finish. And it's also really easy to use in the areas that you want to. So for instance, if you want to dust a bit under the eye without catching the highlight, it just is the perfect brush to do so. So I'm just taking a bit on the back of the lid and then dusting it down the nose, and like I said, under the eye where you need to set. And also if you're a makeup artist, this brush is great because it just feels so soft and a delight to use. So once you have set your makeup, you can then go on to add some colour back into your face. And I personally can't go without bronzer. And I also think if you're looking for that flawless look, you want to kind of create some dimension to your face with colour. Now for bronzers in particular, you should always use a matte bronzer if you're using it for a subtle contour. And my favourite bronzer for sculpting the face is the Make Up For Ever Matte Bronze in 20. If you're darker, you can use the 40. But it's basically a really creamy matte formula with a very nice warm tone that's not too orange. So it warms up the face, but it is good for a slight contour colour. It's not really that suited for dramatic contour. You probably need something with more of a grey undertone, but just for everyday sculpting, it's a really great product. So for this, I'm going to be using the Sigma F25 tapered face brush, which is good because you can really get the product, and the bristles around it is the perfect shape, so when you blend it, it really does buff everything in. So I just like to take some product and take it away on the back of my hand to make sure I don't go in with too much. And just blending some on the forehead. I always like to start with the forehead. And then you can work your way down in kind of like a C shape. And then just go under the cheekbone. And on some people it's easy to see where the cheekbone is, but sometimes you just have to kind of feel for that line. And it's normally just diagonal with your ear, so it should be like a line like that. So if you're used to doing makeup on your face, you should probably know where it is, and you can just go underneath it, very subtly though. And the same on the other side. So for highlighter, I'm going to be using the Smashbox Soft Lights, and this one is in the colour Shimmer. And what I love about this, it has kind of a golden peachy undertone, so if you have yellow undertones in your skin, this will really suit you. There's so many different highlighters on the market at the moment. There's cream, there's powder, but for this, because I think I want it to be an easy to follow tutorial, I'm going to use a powder because I just find powders are a little bit easier to blend out and to work with. So for brush wise, I'm going to be using the Make Up For Ever synthetic brush in 152, and this is a medium highlighter brush, and it's really great because it's synthetic. It doesn't pick up too much product, and that's perfect for when using with highlighters because you don't want to look like a shimmery mess, you know, you want a minimal amount of product. So I'm just taking this, tapping on some product, tapping it on the back of my brush, and applying it on the high points of my face. So really every day you would just want to apply it here, but if you want to go a little bit more out there, you can apply some on the top of your lip and a little bit on your nose or on the brow bone. So I'm going to apply some just here when you catch the light. You should be able to see it when you turn. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned some tricks along the way. This look I think would be perfect to do every single day if you can master it, because I feel like once you know every step, you can do it in 5 minutes. Alternatively, if you don't have a lot of time in the morning, you could do this for date night, I would suggest. Depending on what foundation you use, I think this could look so flawless if you're going on a dinner date. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!